Have you ever actually stopped to wonder what happens the absolute second you swallow your food? We usually just eat, enjoy our meal, and completely forget about it, right? But literally just beneath the surface, your body is firing up one of the most powerful, highly calibrated biological fluids known to exist, gastric juice. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to decode your stomach's incredible chemical factory. We'll see exactly how this fluid works, why it's so incredibly potent, and why you literally could not survive without it. 3. That is the number of liters of gastric juice your body produces every single day. Just think about that for a second. Imagine 3 of those large, heavy water bottles sitting right there on your kitchen counter. That's the sheer volume of clear, acidic fluid millions of tiny, microscopic glands in your stomach are pumping out around the clock. It's a massive physiological effort, and it's happening completely behind the scenes just to keep your internal engine running. And guys, this fluid is dangerously strong. So we all know battery acid is incredibly corrosive, right? It sits at a pH of about 1. Well, your stomach acid sits at a pH of 1.5 to 3.5, which means it's practically as powerful as the acid sloshing around inside a car battery. It is a totally extreme, hostile environment right there in your gut. Actually, to put that into perspective, if you were to drop a piece of metal in there, it would literally begin to corrode. That's the raw power we're dealing with here. Okay, let's just dive right into this precisely engineered chemical factory. We're going to hit the 4 key components of gastric juice: hydrochloric acid, pepsin, mucus, and intrinsic factor. And then we'll wrap up with the severe costs of what happens when this whole delicate system falls out of balance. So our first stop on the factory tour is component 1, hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, or HCl, is the absolute heavy lifter here. It performs 3 massive, totally indispensable jobs for us. First off, it completely dismantles the physical structure of the food you swallow, melting it down from solid chunks into a digestible paste. Second, it acts as your body's fiery security guard. It instantly incinerates any dangerous bacteria or viruses that might have hitched a ride on your meal, which keeps you safe from constant infection. And third, it acts as this precise molecular activation switch for our next component, because without HCl, the whole digestion process stops cold. Extracting nutrients would literally be impossible. And that activation switch brings us right to component 2, pepsin. Now, pepsin is the stomach's most powerful enzyme, hands down, and it's a total specialist. It's got one job and one job only: breaking down proteins. When you eat protein-rich foods, say a steak or eggs, pepsin immediately goes to work on the molecular level. It aggressively attacks those long, complex protein molecules, kind of like a pair of microscopic scissors, and it slices them down into much smaller, manageable pieces called peptides. Once they're snipped down to size, these peptides can be safely carried into the small intestine to be absorbed. Without pepsin doing this heavy lifting, all that great protein you just ate would pass through your body completely undigested, and your muscles would be starved of exactly what they need to grow. But wait, thinking about all this brings up a massive mystery, one that scientists actually pondered for a long time. If the acid in our stomach is practically battery acid, capable of dissolving tough meats and destroying hardened viruses, why in the world doesn't it burn a hole right through your own stomach wall? Like, how does this factory not just destroy itself? Well, that brings us to component 3, the shield, otherwise known as mucus. You see, every single inch of your stomach wall is coated in this incredibly thick, specialized layer of mucus. It's quite literally a physical shield blocking that harsh acid from ever actually touching your delicate stomach tissue. But, the shield isn't invincible. If that mucus layer gets damaged, say by chronic stress, excessive alcohol, super spicy foods, or even harmful bacterial infections, the shield drops. And when the shield drops, that battery-level acid burns directly into the stomach wall itself. The result? A painful, raw, open sore known as a stomach ulcer. So protecting this lining is absolutely foundational to your overall health. Moving on, we have component 4, intrinsic factor. It's definitely a lesser-known protein, but it's no less incredible. Intrinsic factor has one highly specific purpose in this factory: helping your body absorb vitamin B12. And vitamin B12 is absolutely non-negotiable. We need it for healthy nerve function, producing red blood cells, and keeping our brains sharp. But here is the catch. Without intrinsic factor acting as sort of a molecular key to unlock the door, your body simply cannot absorb vitamin B12. Seriously, it doesn't matter if you eat massive amounts of B12-rich fish and dairy, or if you take a mountain of expensive supplements. Without intrinsic factor, the vitamin just passes right through your digestive tract completely uselessly. And the fallout from missing that one tiny piece? It's pretty severe. If your factory stops producing intrinsic factor, you develop a really dangerous condition called pernicious anemia. Because your nerves and brain are completely starved of B12, you're looking at extreme, debilitating fatigue, irreversible nerve damage, and severe memory problems. It just goes to show how one tiny microscopic protein, like literally one hidden gear in the factory, is holding up massive pillars of your day-to-day health. Now that we understand those four main pillars, let's talk about our final section, the cost of imbalance. Because here's the thing, this chemical factory requires absolute precision. When things go even slightly off script, the fallout is immediate. If your glands produce too much acid, you're looking at painful acid reflux and those dangerous ulcers we just talked about. But what if it swings the other way and you produce too little acid? Well, then your food isn't properly broken down, and harmful bacteria can survive the journey into your gut, leading to serious internal infections. And if the mucus shield is compromised, that opens the door to severe inflammation, like gastritis and, once again, stomach ulcers. Every single component relies on the others in this perfectly calibrated, high-stakes biological dance. Ultimately, we kind of tend to treat our stomachs like simple food bags, right? Just a passive holding tank for our next meal. But it is so much more than that. As this quote perfectly nails it, it is a dynamic, incredibly hostile, yet precisely engineered chemical factory. It synthesizes the exact mix of corrosive acids, specialized enzymes like pepsin, protective mucus, and vital proteins like intrinsic factor needed to extract life from your food while keeping you entirely safe from harm. Gastric juice is truly one of the most stunning examples of biological engineering we have. But remember, the stomach is just one organ. When you realize how much invisible precision is happening right now, literally just to digest your breakfast, it leaves you with a staggering thought. What other perfectly balanced chemical secrets is your body hiding from you right now?